All right. Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of the Eynelys show. I love our new theme song. Don't you guys love that? Shout out to my buddy, Tustin Griffiths, who wrote that for us. We actually used to be in a band together back in the day. I'll tell you guys more about that some other time. But today we have an amazing show. Today is going to be a union day. We're going to be talking about the importance of unions, why we need them, things that we need to do to strengthen them, and how they help Americans get lifted out of poverty. Our guest today is, he's got a lot of titles, so I'm going to read them right here. He is the president of the American Postal Workers Union of Vermont. He is an executive council member of the AFL-CIO. And of course, he is an advisory council member of the People's Party. Everybody, please welcome Omar Fernandez. Omar, it's so great to have you here. How are you?
Hey, Eynelys, how you guys doing? Hello.
Hey, I'm so excited to have you here. So we're going to be talking about unions today, and it's funny because we were just talking about this before we started the show, that today I found out about something called the ProAct. And so we're not going to get too deep into this because, like I said, I just found out about it. I want to do more research. But here's the overall general idea of it. It passed the House. There are people saying it passed the House because they know it'll never pass the Senate. But essentially, if it were to get passed, it would be a huge deal for unions and union members across the country because it would bring in a lot of protections for those unions. It would make it so that, for example, companies can't pretend to negotiate in good faith, but then go to, another contractor. Instead, a mediator would be brought in to help negotiate with the union. It would make it so that companies can no longer threaten employees and use these tactics to union bust. That's going to be made illegal, where they have people show up and say, you're going to get fired and you shouldn't do this. And another thing that's really important that it does is, and I really want to dig into this more over the next few days and talk to you guys more about it. But another thing that it does is make it so that employers can no longer permanently replace employees that are striking and that have that union protection. So, and of course, it would also add protections for freelance employees so that they can still get benefits that normal employees would get. So there's a lot that goes into that, and we'll keep you guys posted on that. If it passes the Senate, it's unlikely. And maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into the show, Omar. But I just wanted to open with that, letting everybody know that this did just pass the House. This is something that's currently happening in Congress. So pick up that phone, open that email, and pressure. Okay, so let's jump right in. Omar, so we've had you on the show before. I love having you on. But maybe we haven't gotten so much into your background and your history and who you are. So the first thing I wanted to ask you was, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what your background is, and what got you interested not only in politics, but in unions and leading a union?
Well, thank you for having me on again, first of all. This is awesome. I truly appreciate it. I hope I don't bore the heck out of your viewers. I hope
no, chico,
vamos a ver cómo vamos a salir todo esto. Pero vamos a ver. No, but thanks again for having me here. Well, the way I got into unions. Well, first of all, my name is Omar Fernandez. I am a Dominican. My family is from the Dominican Republic. I was born in New York. My wife is Mexican. I guess the way to start everything, ever since I was a little kid, I've always been interested in what was going on with the world and how everything runs. Why are things the way they are? When I went to college, I was a political science / history major. Started with that. And then I went across the country to Colorado Springs, became a minister. And then I went down to Mexico for 3 years. I was a missionary down there. That's where I met my beautiful wife. Mexico is where I'm going to go retire. I love it down there. But when I came back from Mexico, here I am with my minister's degree and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do? Because we came back up here. So I found a job. I was working for a company that the way it always is nowadays, it's a contract employee for a big company. Let's just leave it there. It's a company that, funny enough, my union now went against them before because they were trying to get the United States Postal Service was trying to contract them as well, but the union went against them and they almost failed. And what they failed completely, went out of business, but they definitely stopped trying to do the mail, stopped trying to do the job that we do. Because it was another whole thing where what they were trying to do is get cheaper labor and then not have the mail be secure the way we have it now. They were just trying to get anybody off the streets to do it, and it was just a mess. But anyways, so I came up here, and while I was working for this job, I was working 18-hour days. I mean, it was like literally delivering all over Vermont, and I was thankful that I got the job because here I am, a guy had political science history degree. I was a minister now. What the heck can you do with that? Honestly, let's be honest about it. What can you do with that? So until I got things under my feet, I was working for this company, working so many hours. I'm tired. Can barely. Thank God that I was able to keep up, so I can drive these crazy hours and all this and delivering all over Vermont. One time I got into an argument with a vendor because they wouldn't open the door. It was -5 degrees outside and they wouldn't open the door for me. This is kind of a long story, but it really, it's the foundation. They wouldn't open the door for me and they were laughing on the other end of the door. Now, I don't know if they were laughing because of me or anything like that. I'm just a guy that barely got any sleep. I'm freezing outside. I need to make this delivery. I have a certain amount of time to do it, like some Amazon delivery drivers. I have a certain amount to do it, and I got to hurry up and do it. So I go all the way around through the front to make my deliveries there. Anyways, huge thing happened. What ended up happening is the boss of my job ended up taking their side. I understand, but totally left me out in the dust. And here I am. The main reason I moved to this area was to help this company, was to be with this company. Now here I am abandoned. Thank God I was able to find a job with the Postal Service. And in there, I went in there with that attitude of like, man, at any time, anybody in a job can just get rid of you for any reason whatsoever. And you have no say in it. No, you can't fight it. You're out of there and you're abandoned. I mean, it's nothing compared to what other people go through. But it was in that time where I was on, I can't even say welfare because they said we made too much money for it, but we still had food stamps. And but it was barely enough to make it. It was just the worst month of my life, which again, it's nothing compared to what other people go through, nothing. But it was so horrible when I finally got into the Postal Service. And it was funny, a manager asked me, hey, do you want to be a manager? And then the union asked me, do you want to be a steward? I told the manager, I was like, dude, I just got here. I have no idea. To this day, I've been working in the post office 6 years. The daggone, I love working for the post office, but the way the plant is run, it's confusing. And 6 years later, I'm still like, I know my job, but the rest of it. So anyways, I said no, but to become a steward, to help people, to be able to fight if anything goes wrong or anything like that, I said, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. And in that, I literally, it was maybe 2 months on the job, maybe even less. I was made a steward. First thing they said to me was, you within 90 days, they can fire you whenever you want. So if anything comes up, let me take care of it. Which was the president at the time. I said, sure, no problem. I didn't listen, but thank God I didn't get fired. There was a lot of things that were going on there that you weren't supposed to be doing. 204B. I'm the kind of guy that I see something going on wrong, I don't like it. I hate bullies. I don't like to see people getting bullied. And the only way that any of us are going to survive against people who have the money and have the ability to do it is for us to come together as one. So, and not only that, I was a minister, so I already had that, wanting to always fight for people. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess I could stop there but that was the biggest thing. I really don't like being bullied. I don't like it when people are just left out on a limb. You have no way of surviving. And it's like, hey, we got to do something about that. So when I was able to become part of the union, I did that. Then, to be honest with you, unions need so much help because they did. We have done such a great job in the past from the 70s forward that a lot of people are sitting on their laurels and like, oh yeah, the unions got it. It's okay, they got it. When they don't realize, if anybody can remember one thing out of this whole interview, is that without the people, we have no power. Yeah, we have the name, but if the people aren't willing to come alongside you, which is what a union is. A union isn't you hired a lawyer and said, hey, he'll take care of it me. No, a union is together we come to like fight whatever the heck is going on in your area and all that kind of stuff. So if people can just understand that your union needs your help, you absolutely need to get involved to make sure that things get done that you want to get done. So and it's funny because here I am, I've only been in the post office less than a year, and already they're asking me, hey, do you want to be a clerk craft director? I have no idea what that is. If somebody will help me, I'll do it. Yep, okay, you're the clerk craft director. Great. And then all of a sudden, like a few months after that, do you want to be president? I'm like, holy moly. If I get the help, absolutely, let's do this. And so that's how I ended up where I am right now.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I was writing some notes as you were talking about some things that I wanted to touch on. So one of the things that you said was they can fire us whenever they want. And I want to expand on that a little bit because something that I've always thought is ridiculous is the fact that you as an employee are expected to give an employer a 2-week notice if you want to move on to a different job, but yet they can fire you with no notice and make you lose your entire income. And that's always been crazy to me because back in the day, I worked for like this auto body shop chain, right? And they had like, it's called Caliber. They had like several, shops throughout the country. They fix cars after car accidents. And so one of the things with Caliber was, I was there. I literally watched people train their replacement without knowing that was their replacement. It's really toxic when they do things like this. And then a couple other things I wanted to mention that you touched on was, so my best friend, Heather, she worked at Caliber with me back in the day. Her mother passed, and when she went to go tell her regional manager, I won't say her name, when she went to go tell her regional manager's reaction was, well, are you going to be here tomorrow to open the office? Because we need somebody here to open the office tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
That was the response to my mother just died. And I need to arrange the funeral and fill out paperwork. And it should be, oh my God, take as much time as you need. We will find somebody to fill in for you. But it wasn't that. It was, are you going to be here tomorrow to open the office? Because we need somebody here, though. And that was the beginning of the end for me when it came to working for corporations. I was like, this is disgusting. And then one last thing I want to mention that I took a note of that you were mentioning was, you said, I had a degree in ministry and in political science, and what am I going to do with that? And I think that actually speaks more to what we value in this country than anything else. Because frankly, we could do with a lot more. I'm an atheist, but I still think that we could do with more, like ministers and stuff, because most of them are preaching good things. And my problem is more with organized religion itself, because a lot of terrible things are done in the name of religion, right? But most everyday people that, go to church or they're religious, or maybe they're just spiritual, whatever it is, they're good people that have good intentions and they're trying to, build good morals. And so I can respect that. So yeah, we need more, ministry leaders that are able to, still work within what's realistic within the century. Like, for example, it's okay to be gay, like women deserve the right to abortion. Like, as long as you're on the right side of those issues, I don't care what you believe, right? We need more philosophers. We need more scientists. We need more political scientists. We need, artists. Why is it that what we value the most is militarism, lawyers, not that there's anything wrong with someone being a tax guy. We need people like that. But why is it that our government is filled with nothing but that? Where are the scientists? Where are the philosophers? Where are the people where are the teachers? Where are the union leaders? So I think that says more about what we value in this country, as opposed to anything that you have to offer.
Well, and the funny thing about it is that I am a former Marine. And one of the things that I was doing while I was in college, I was going to become a lawyer for the Marine Corps. And, got accepted into the program and all that kind of good stuff. And then quite honestly, I forget exactly what happened. I don't remember. I think there was an issue where I was able to get a position while I was a reservist. By the way, I was a reserve Marine. We're the first ones that get sent out to the line to fight, but we get a lot of training. But I want to make sure to let everybody know that, I didn't serve in the field. I didn't go to war or anything like that. I was a reservist. But that's what I wanted to do. And I could have gotten a position in part of the secret service part of the Marine Corps, where what you did is you try to go into bases without ID or anything, check their security, that kind of stuff. That's the way it was explained to me. Honestly, I don't know if that was the whole job. But then while I was with my in my unit, I was just a lance corporal, which is right under all the non-commissioned officers and things like that. Well, I was able to get this position through somebody that I knew at Norwich University. But what they did is like, oh, this guy hasn't been going to drill. This guy hasn't been doing this. This guy hasn't been doing that. Let's give that spot to a staff sergeant. And I understand why they did that. I totally, truly do. But it's like, let me know about it. And please don't say that I wasn't going to drill when I was going to drill. So when that happened, that kind of said, well, and again, this is my experience. When I was in the Marine Corps, it was great. But when that happened, it was just like, wow, it's just the best for the Marine Corps, which absolutely I'm all for. But they didn't have to go that far and say what they said about anyways. And then, so that kind of turned me off through that whole thing. So I dropped the whole lawyer thing. But it's funny how now I'm in the union, and And it's like I'm learning how to be able to protect people and take care of people through the contract. You know what I mean? And it's funny how that you had that same experience, where literally these managers are just talking about where, well, you're a cog in a machine. We need you there. And it's like, no, no, no. According to the contract that you guys agreed to, you said that if somebody has somebody that passes in their family, you're going to give them 3 days bereavement leave. And thank God they can do that. And thank God that I was able to be able to just show it to them and say, hey, she has a right. She has a right to go take care of her family and recover. And at least 3 days is not enough.
I was just thinking that 3 days is not enough. It should be 1 to 2 weeks minimum.
At least.
Minimum.
At least. Yeah. I mean, even we had a driver who unfortunately just lost someone in his life. He was able to be gone for a lot longer because he knew management, and management did that for him. I mean, he's kind of a tough guy too, and he's like, you know what, you guys can go jump. I need to go chill for a bit. And it wasn't until he was like, you know, I can't hang out in the house anymore. Everything's reminding me of her. I need to go. I need to go to work. And that's when you know somebody is ready to do what they need to do. But
yeah, I mean, they take the humanity out of everything, and it's just crazy. So anyway, okay, so the next thing I want to ask you about is, a lot of people hear the word union and they think they understand it, right? But can you educate us a little bit on what exactly does a union do for an employee, and why is it important?
The biggest thing that a union does for an employee is that it gives an employee muscles. It gives the employee the ability to speak. It gives the employee a strength to back up their side of the argument. It takes away from management their authority in a situation that's being grieved, where investigations can happen, where people can talk. One great thing that I love about the American Postal Workers Union is that anyone can do a step one grievance. What that means, and another thing that I love, is that nothing has to be put on paper at the beginning, at the first step. It's called step one. It's supposed to be a conversation between the manager and the employee, or the steward that's representing the employee, where you can talk back and forth and, hey, what's going on? What's this? What's that? Sometimes there's yelling. It's probably one of the only good things. Well, no, I'm not going to say the only good thing, but you get to actually yell at managers, because that's what you're supposed to do. You can literally say to them, what the heck are you doing, dude? You know you're not supposed to be doing that, you know? But the biggest and the baddest thing that an employee has when you're part of a union is that you have the people behind you. You have the strength of the union behind you. And again, I'm going to repeat this again. Without the people, the union is absolutely nothing. The union needs your support. They're the people that are legally binded to represent you. We are a fiduciary body for the employees, and we have to represent you to the best and the utmost of our ability. But if we don't have your strength, if we don't have your backing, we're laughed at. Thank God that the American Postal Workers Union still has that strength. But I'll tell you this, Eynelys, I'll tell you this, everybody looking at us, we need more people. We absolutely need more people to do things, to just be eyes on the floor, to be able to know the contract and say, yeah, that's not supposed to be happening. I'm going to go let my steward know. Or my next break, I'm going to let them know what's going on. And not only that, but also the people they call shop steward is the person who represents employees. But if you look at it, the people are the stewards of the contract, because they're the ones that can look at things going on in the plant or in your little office and be like, yo, that's not right. I need to speak up about this. I need to go let somebody know what's going on here, because unless we have these eyes, unless we have these people out there, there's no way that we can know. I mean, here in little old Vermont, we have over 300 offices that we represent, which is absolutely nothing compared to like New York Metro that has thousands of employees in just the plant. But there are things that go under the radar that we don't know about simply because we're not there. And sometimes things blow up if the union would have been able to get involved, it would have stopped it immediately and not let it get so big. But you asked me real quick, what's the most important thing about the union? People power. You have the power to actually be represented. You have the power to actually make your life better. Without the union, I would have been fired by now, because I'm an outspoken person and I will let a manager know when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. But I guess that's it. It's the people power that you have, and it's something that we all need. People have to get involved in their own life, because if you think about it, at the very least, you spend a third of your life at work, 8 hours, at least 8 hours. I mean, I'm working 12 hours, so I'm already up there, but at least 8 hours. And if you're not involved, you're not letting your leaders know in the union what you want to happen. If you just leave it up to other people to take care of you, it's not going to happen. A big saying that I always had is, no one is a better advocate for you than you. So you have to let your voice be heard. You got to let yourself be known. And if your union leaders aren't representing you correctly, vote them out. The people are the bosses. They're the ones. It's one thing that I hear a lot among postal workers is, oh, well, the union this, the union that. No, you're the union. If you don't like the way the union is running, then you need to at least let your voice be heard and get somebody there in the position of authority so that you're represented correctly. And remember, you are the position of authority. So you got to be able to let your union reps, your union executive board know what it is that you want. So that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. You have power. You have the ability to control one of the biggest influencers in your life. Because it's another thing I tell people whenever they're talking about, oh, my job this, the post office did, the post office that. I say to them, it's better to wake up and go to work than wake up and look for work. And immediately it wakes people up. But if you're not involved, then your job is going to be miserable. And that's what you need to do. Be involved so that your job is the way you want it to be. I think that was
that's great advice, because a lot of people feel disempowered, and that's not an accident, right? So we are purposefully every day made to feel disempowered by every organization of power around us, whether that's government, whether that's corporations, whatever it is. They want us to have that, well, it just is the way it is mentality, because for as long as we have that, nothing changes, right? And so that's such a great point, that you have to at some point take charge and say, here is what is no longer acceptable to me, and this is the bare minimum that I demand. Like, we're so terrified to demand anything. And so that's a really great point. Okay, so the next thing I want to ask you about is the post office specifically, and then within that, FedEx and US and UPS. So first of all, the Postal Service has been under attack for a while now. I want you to tell us about that. And what's the problem, Omar, with companies like FedEx and UPS? Why is it that we should choose the Postal Service instead?
Well, definitely always choose the Postal Service, because whether you know it or not, the Postal Service is who is delivering your packages, your mail, no matter who you choose. Because the Postal Service is so efficient and so cheap, done purposely. The whole reason that the post office is even created is to connect the country. And that's what we do. We have more retail shops than Target, than Walmart, than any company that you want to say put together. We have more retail space because we're everywhere. I mean, that's why they always talk about postal banking, because in places where they don't even have banks, the post office is there to be able to provide for people. But so let me go back to the first point. No matter who you choose, the post office is still delivering your mail, because do you know what FedEx, UPS, DHL, and all these guys do? And I'm not knocking them because they're great workers. They absolutely bust their butt too. They should be unionized too. UPS is, but the rest of the guys should be too. Is that we're so efficient that if you don't pay the premium amount to get your package to a door, they don't deliver your package. They bring it to the closest United States Postal Service plant, bring it to us, and we deliver that. So you pay.
Can I pause you right there? I just want everybody to fully let that sink in. So when you go to FedEx or UPS, unless you pay the highest like premium price, if you just say, send it regular, here FedEx, they take it to the post office. So it's literally going through the post office no matter what. So you might as well just go to the post office and not pay the extra surcharge for the middleman.
Absolutely.
Right, Omar?
That's absolutely. Absolutely. And not only that, but anytime, whenever they want, all those other private companies can say, we're getting too many packages, that's it. The post office can't say that. The post office says, bring it on, we got this, bring it, which is what is happening right now. Whenever there's a storm, during the pandemic, during Christmas rush, the other companies actually literally said to people, we have too many packages, we don't have the people to do it, don't bring it to us, bring it over to the post office. And we took care of it. I mean, we even go as far, and I'm not proud of this, our greatest product is Express. That is the only job where a manager can actually step in and do the work, because we need to make sure that that product gets out the door and gets to where it needs to get on time, every time. During the pandemic and the Christmas rush, because we're so understaffed, we didn't have the people to do it. So there was actually a 2-week period there where Express had no expected delivery date. It was awful. I would still see these packages come in, and it's part of my job as an expediter. I would see this Express coming in with NA, and I'm like, what in the world is this? Not applicable for the date. I'd still get it out the door on time, but we're so understaffed because of the pandemic, because we are purposely understaffed, and because of the Christmas rush, they literally for like a 2-week period said, we have no expectation of when this is going to get there. Thank God people still used us, but it was just incredible to me that happened. I never seen that. Yes, I've only been in the post office 6 years, but I've talked to guys who've been there for 45 years and said they've never seen anything like that. So, and one thing you asked, why is the Postal Service getting attacked? The Postal Service is one of the most efficient non-profit organizations that the country has. Let me say that one more time, because we're being fed a narrative that is absolutely incorrect. The Postal Service is not a corporation. The Postal Service is not a business. We are a service, a nonprofit organization that serves the people. Why are we that way? Because some cities are profitable, some cities are not. That's straight up. If you're getting delivered mail in rural areas, the post office does it because it is too expensive for any other private entity to do it. In New York, in Boston, Chicago, those places, money is made with the Postal Service. Absolutely. I'm not going to tell you different. But in most of the country, like when we're delivering to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, when we're delivering on ships, when we're delivering to small islands, it's absolutely, we do not make that money. We actually have a 3-year cycle where we make a profit, stay even, and then lose money. And that's the cycle that it goes. All this crap about people saying that the Postal Service is not doing well is nothing but a lie. We make about $75 billion a year. And let me add one more thing in there that a lot of people don't know. We actually, and this speaks to why people need to get involved and understand what's going on with your service, with the people that serve you, is that the Postal Service overpaid its retirement by $75 billion back in 2004, 2005. Overpaid it. So they found out about that and said, hey, let's figure out how we can get that money back from the Treasury. This is where the PAEA came in. It's a law that says we need to make the Postal Service more efficient because they're losing money. But look, I just said that we're making $75 billion a year. How are you losing money? This is what they did. The Treasury Department kept that money and then say, hey, by the way, instead of us returning this money to you, which is still owed to us, instead of giving that money back to you, you guys need to make, what is it? It's 25 years. You need to pay 25 years in advance of retirement. And you need to do it in 10 years, by the way. So you need to have some money saved up, 25 years worth of money saved up. You have to do it in 10 years for your future retirees, people that don't even exist yet. No other company in the world has ever been forced to do that. The post office is forced to do that. And the whole reason they do it is to make it look like we're losing money. But remember, how did I start this? We are a non-profit organization. Never do you say to other nonprofit organizations, hey, you're not making any money. You're not making a profit. No, why? Because it's a non-profit organization. Now, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be run efficiently, but we already are. Other companies, other advertisers come to us so that we can deliver their products. We deliver 80% of the world's mail. You know, we are very efficient and we take care of the people. That's our job. This is what I love to do, is make sure that that mail gets out there. That's why I laughed with this whole voting thing, but we can talk about that stuff later if you like.
Yeah, I think it's funny. So first of all, everybody that's tuning in right now, this is the Eynelys Show. I am your host, Eynelys Garcia. We are here with Omar Fernandez talking about unions. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. It's totally free and the best way to help the show grow. So we've talked about the best way that we can help the post office is by using the post office. And Omar has educated us, something that I did not know. Omar has educated us today on the fact that really shouldn't be going to FedEx or UPS because most of those packages they send through the post office anyway. So you might as well just go down to your post office and save some money instead of paying that extra fee for a middleman that's just going to send your stuff through the post office anyway. Okay. So I think that as far as I do at some point want to have you back on, Omar, maybe later on in the year, to talk about Biden versus Trump as far as who did anything or more to help unions, right? But right now, I don't think we're at a point yet where we can realistically talk about has Biden helped unions, because nothing has happened yet. So then I guess the last thing I want to ask you about today is you decided to join the advisory council for the People's Party. And so at a time where the majority of the country wants a new party, and we really need to give people some kind of path and alternative to the fascism that is sure to come in 4 years. I just want to, have you share with us why you joined the People's Party Advisory Council, and why do you think that now is the time for a new party?
The reason I joined the People's Party, and I didn't know that, I mean, I'm very, very, very proud and honored that I got asked to become part of the advisory committee, the advisory council. But the main reason I joined the People's Party is I took my own advice. If I want things to get better, I need to get involved with making sure that that thing gets better. For lack of a better way of putting it, I hope people don't misunderstand me, but the People's Party is a giant union where the people are going to finally come together and make the decisions as to how to take care of the people. That's what it's about. Sisters and brothers, brothers and sisters, that is what it's all about. We need to come together to make this country better. The money is already there. It's just being kept away from us. Everything that's going on right now is done purposely. So you need to come along with the People's Party, let your voice be heard, because look, folks, even though we have a great platform so far, we still know that there's got to be something missing that we're not thinking about. And if you don't join, if you don't come in and let your voice be heard, then we have no idea what that thing is. We have a great start right now. It's not a permanent platform because the people need to come together and vote on the platform, the permanent platform, as to what we're going to be coming out with. But we really need to hear your voice. You need to come over here to protect your family. One other thing that I always say is, let us come together on things we can agree upon. And I think the thing that we can agree upon more than ever is that we should be able to take care of our families and ourselves with one job. Not two jobs, not three jobs, not four jobs, but one job. Of course, if you want to have more jobs, absolutely, you should have the freedom to do it. But if you're working one job, you should be able to pay all your bills. You should be able to save some money aside. You should be able to have fun with your money. You should be able to enjoy your money. You should be able to enjoy your family. Right now, we're not doing that. Right now, the only people that get to do anything like that are people that have unions. Folks, think about it. People that have unions are the ones that are able to live this dignified life. I don't want to say, $15 no, we need to live a dignified life where we can take care of our families and be able to grow where we are in what we do. And the only way to do that is by the people coming together to let their voice heard, to be able to do things. Folks, one thing I want to let you understand, we already have the power. Think about it. We already have it, because if you see everything that's on TV, everything that you hear is done to convince you of a narrative, to convince you of doing something, to convince you that things are the way they are and there's nothing you can do about it. You already are the power. As soon as you buy into it, they're using your own power against you. Folks, look at your own lives. Just look at your own lives and say to yourself, am I living this dignified life? If you're not, then you need to come join the People's Party. And some people might say, what the heck is a guy that's working for a union living a good life? And by the way, it's the first job in my 51 years that I can actually take care of my family correctly. I'm taking vacation for the first time in 6 years. Do you know why? Because mentally, I needed to prepare myself for 6 years to do that, because I didn't know how to do that. I just didn't know how to do that. And I'm finally doing it this year. But what does this guy have to be able to tell me? Because I know what it was when I was out there working these non-union jobs, where at any time the boss can do, hey, I don't feel right. The moon is in retrograde and the puppy talked to me funny today. I'm going to fire Omar. And that's it. You have no redress. You have no way of fighting for that. We need to come together on things we can agree upon, guys. Let's not get divided on anything. Anything that's dividing us, let's put it off to the side for a little tiny bit till we get the true and real power. And then once we get that power and everybody's being taken care of, living that dignified life, then let's come together and talk about what are the other things that are dividing us. But we got to come together, guys. We need to put things that are dividing us to the side and come together on things we can agree upon. Let's do that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And none of us are perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fuck up, and we're going to learn and grow from it. And so the idea is for all of us to come together and say, okay, together, let's build the best party possible that we can, that will actually represent Americans, you know, and we need a 4-day work week because people need time to spend with their families. That's not
Absolutely.
laziness. That is a lie perpetuated by the corporations that want to squeeze you dry for all of your labor while they keep the profits. So you deserve time with your family. We need a 4-day work week. We should pay our employees enough so that they don't have to do overtime to earn enough to survive. You should be able to just do a regular day and then go home. You shouldn't have to do those 12-hour days because, oh man, got to get that overtime pay because I don't make enough with my regular pay. So, I mean, it's so much that we need to do. We need guaranteed FMLA, maternity, paternity leave.
Absolutely.
You know, all of these, and we need at least a week or two minimum, when someone has a family member pass. I don't care if it's their fourth cousin twice removed. That person has a right to grieve. What if they need to travel outside? A lot of us, I have family in Cuba. I was born there. I'm sure you have family in the Dominican Republic. So, you know,
absolutely,
we have to travel sometimes when a relative passes. So it's like the humanity has been completely taken out of jobs and careers. And that's why it's so important to build a strong labor movement. In fact, glad I said that. So after this at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern today, you guys can catch me on Chris Small's podcast. He invited me on. I'm very happy to go on. He's friend.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, Chris so I'm going to be on It's a Small's World. It's a Small's World. It's such a good title.
This is great. He's also part of the advisory
he is
council.
Also part of the People's Party Advisory Council, and he's another labor guy. Right? He was fired by Amazon simply for pointing out the fact that they were violating rules to keep their employees safe during COVID. So look, there's so much going on, and now there's a lawsuit. So I'm really excited to see all of these labor people and union people coming together to work on the People's Party, because honestly, we need this. It is the perfect time. And, you know, we didn't really have time to get into that today. But, you know, let's just say with all the promises that have already been broken by the Democrats, we can certainly expect bloodshed in 2022, you know, and definitely in 2024, we need to give people an option, an out, something to grab onto that will save them, because people are super desperate, and it's only going to get worse over the next few years, because we're going to feel the economic repercussions of this pandemic and the terrible way that it was handled for a long, long time to come. And with that being said, I want to also let you guys know that tomorrow we have a very, very special Eynelys show. It is going to be the Eynelys Show Halfway There special. And we're going to have Nick Rana of the People's Party. We're going to have Steph Zamorano of the Jimmy Dore Show. We're going to have Jackson Hinkle from The Dive, and Christine Olivo, who is a congressional candidate in Florida's 24th district. So tune in for that tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern. So before we go, Omar, I want to hand the floor over to you. Are there any final thoughts that you want to share with people before we go?
It's going to be real short. Hopefully I don't ramble like I've been. I apologize for that.
You're good.
The biggest thing, folks, the biggest thing, let's come together on things we can agree upon, guys. We have the power, but let's use the power for us. There's so many places that you can look up to see. I heard one person say, if you give everybody $15 an hour, which by the way is not a living wage, if you give everybody $15 an hour, then the milk is going to go up to $10. What? That's not even true. There's things out there that you can look up to see the truth of what's going on, but let's not even go out there, because there's so much information. How are you going to know what's the right or not? Here's what I want you to do. Look at your own life. Look at your own life and say, man, am I living a dignified life? Am I able to come home to work, and instead of crashing and going to sleep, can I spend time with my family? Can I spend time with my kids? Can I spend time, if you're a single person, watching TV, doing whatever it is that you want to do? We don't have time for recreation anymore, folks. Even me as a union guy, most of my time, and I hate to say this, I'm sleeping, I'm on the job, or I'm taking care of a grievance. Two of those things are awesome. I love to do. Well, actually, I love sleeping too. Let's be honest about it, because it's so tired. I'm so tired. But I love helping people with their grievances, and I love going to work. You know what I mean? I love my job, but I want to spend more time with my wife. I want to be able to do things like the only time that we get a chance to dream out loud and do anything we do is when I'm on my way to a grievance somewhere in Vermont, deep in the Vermont mountains, which I love doing this trip, and we get to talk during that time. But here at home, I'm like asleep somewhere because it's like I'm so tired. So more than anything, let's come together. If you can join a union, join a union. If you could help a union, help a union, just to get your voice heard. And if you are looking for work, sisters and brothers, come to the Postal Service. We need people. We need people. We need people. We need people. Now, of course, management is not putting out the jobs the way they should, but believe me, the union already has grievances. The unions, because there's 4 of us, have grievances already in the works to get more jobs, because it's a constant flow between that. But more than anything, let's come together, guys. Let's come together so we can live that dignified life. And one last thing, use your imagination. I want you to imagine, what is that dignified life? What is it going to be? Because we're going to get there, guys. When you imagine it, it will happen. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. We weren't able to get into my religious background. There's a lot of things I don't agree with the church. I don't want people to get turned off about that. That's one of the ways that I communicate on that. But even that, I left because there were things going on in there where the people weren't being protected. So I guess that's it. We need to come together, folks. We need to come together to take care of our life, to get that dignified life. Okay.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Thank you, Omar. Well said. And I'm happy. I'm sure next time we have you on, maybe we can get a little more into that, because that's also an interesting topic. And I just think that, first of all, thank you so much for educating all of us today, including me. That's part of what I love about having people on, is learning about their experience and what they go through, and just information that I never had before, that I'm like, well, I am never using FedEx or UPS again with what you told us today. Like, that blew my mind. I didn't know that. And I was like, what's the point? I'm just paying extra for no reason. So, yeah, Omar, thank you so much for educating us and being here today. Everybody, look, I know that we have been conditioned to believe that we shouldn't try, that we have no choices. That is not true. Go to peoplesparty.org. You can volunteer. You can contribute. You can add your ideas for what you feel that the party needs. It's absolutely 100% what Omar said. It's time for us to come together. This has been the latest episode of the Eynelys Show. Catch me in an hour on Chris Small's channel. It's a Small's World. And tomorrow, tune in at 2 p.m. for our Eynelys Show Halfway There special. It's going to be fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. We will see you next time. Talk soon.